be that bad when it's through. It's through. Fate would twist of both of you. So come on, baby, come on over. Let me be the one to show you. I'm the one who wants to be with you. Deep inside, I hope you'll feel it too. Feel it too. Waited on a line of waited on a line just to be the next to be with you. Build up your confidence so you can be on top for once. Wake up, who cares about little boy that talk too much? I've seen it all.
All right, welcome to the Wellbeing Podcast. We are back back in town. I just pulled a earbud out of Sumer's ear. So welcome back, y'all. I'm one of your co-hosts, Scott Frost.
And you're with Sumer, and that song was really inspiring, actually.
Oh, Mr. Big.
Yeah, it's really inspiring. I was listening to the words. I was like, man.
Oh, man, haven't heard that since 1990.
Dude, those are the days.
Yeah, I was like 7.
Flannels.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, the big flannel. I used to, the Gap. That's when you wanted to shop at the Gap.
Jinko. It's a rock Jinko.
Oh, see, I was just rocking the Gap, but I was so skinny that it was all falling off of me. It didn't even freaking matter.
Well, I was the opposite. It fit just well.
So, before this started, Sumer and I were actually hanging out here, and two of us and Lauren had dinner, and we were talking about how we were looking back at I'm putting together a kind of a photo album for I'm trying to get my Facebook page, my Coach Scott Frost Facebook page up and running, because Sumer's Facebook game is way too elevated for me to even talk about that I have a Facebook page.
Well, it's like reciprocal inspiration, right? Your Instagram page was on point, so I had to get mine on point, and then now vice versa. It's reciprocal inspiration, son.
Absolutely. So, in an effort to do that, one of the things I think that has always kind of dogged at me with different coaches, and I think it's starting to become less of a problem though, is transparency. And I think just transparency in the entire fitness, health fitness world in general, that there's this group of people who paint themselves as one way and suffer in the dark. And I was thinking this as I was looking through photos of sort of my body transformation over the years, and you look at the pictures, and it's a pretty stark difference from when even 2002 I was a senior in high school. But it took me 10 years, 12 years to make that change. And you know, a lot of the sexy advertising and the buzzwords and the campaigns, to sell you packages at gyms and all this other crap, it's really about turn it around fast. And I put in, even before 2002, I put in probably five years before that of starting to work out, starting to lift. And I was an athlete my whole life before that. So I've put a lot of time in, but even just under the barbell, intensely since probably 2001. And for me to make those changes, it took 10 years of really good training and the right information, and going through all the wrong information, and going through all the bad training and the injuries, and going through all the bad dieting and the bad food intake to find something that actually worked. And so I just wanted to kind of put together an album and say, like, yeah, this is a big change, but this didn't happen overnight.
Yeah. That's kind of interesting, because I feel like people see it as, oh, he just has had it easy all his life. It's like he's always been fit. So it's totally unattainable for me. Why should I even try? So I think it's important that you do that. That transparency is key. And it's cool that you're doing that. It's inspiring me to get transparent too.
So it's
awesome.
I'm going to call it transparency through the years.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
You know, it has some pretty unflattering photos, and it's got some pretty flattering photos, and it's a little bit of both. But I want to put it together and show side by side that I've been a really, really skinny, small, what we call a hard gainer, someone that's very difficult to gain muscle my whole life. I was born premature, 5 weeks, I think, at least. And I like to joke with my parents that they got the advice at the time. Their doctor told them not to put me in an incubator. And I always say to my mom to this day, like, well, why? Like, I was not done yet. You should have put me in the oven. Like if I wasn't done, you could have at least put me under the heat lamp. Like, finish off the job. Like I wasn't fully thoroughly cooked. You had to take me out early because I was actually at risk. My mom was risking paralysis because I was pushing into her spine. Yeah, so like I needed to come out and.
Wait, she's pushing into her spine.
So she had
oh shit!
Major. Oh yeah, she had major back problems coming into pregnancy with me, and the doctors told her that to have a third child, she'd be risking serious health problems and actually potentially compression on the spinal cord and paralysis. And my parents wanted a third child, and so they had me, but they were always monitoring it very carefully. And my mom was on bed rest for a significant portion of the third trimester because of just the pressure. And it was kind of coming to a point where they were just trying to get me cooked long enough to pull me out via C-section. And so they had me, and I was like 5 weeks premature, but they didn't finish the job. Like, if you had to pull me out early, like, should have, you know, maybe cooked me a little longer. But so I came out with like at this huge disadvantage. I was like really like crazy skinny, crazy small. I had all these digestive issues. I had like IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, my whole life. And then I just oh my god, I had asthma as a child. I was just not really well developed. And I was really, really small until I hit middle school, like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and then I was just plain skinny fat. Like, so i.e. I had bones and fat, but no muscle. And I was very envious of, already at that time, you know, athletic guys in like built bodies and bodybuilders. And I grew up in the time of like where we all had Muscle and Fitness and Flex magazine, and I started looking at these things and was like, man, I was so unhappy with my body. In 6th grade, I was getting dressed in the locker room, and I was miserable. Like, I just thought I was fat, and I wanted abs, and I was like in 6th grade. And so I got to high school, and my freshman year of high school, I was a very high-level tennis player, and I had torn my rotator cuff and the cartilage and, like, just basically a lot of the connective tissue in and amongst the rotator cuff muscles and in the shoulder at the glenohumeral joint, at the shoulder joint. And they went in and I had surgery, and it just never came back. And over the summer between my freshman and sophomore year, my friend Ed and I just obsessively dove into mountain biking with him because it was something to do. And I was so upset with my body that, you know, I followed conventional wisdom of the day and, you know, no fat. So I ate no fat, carbs, and I didn't eat any food. But the real problem was I had no muscle, and I weighed I was like maybe 5'11", almost 5'11". Yeah, I was almost my height now. So I'm 6 foot now. I was like 5'11". I was 132 pounds.
Damn.
Skinny as a rail. Now, that was at the beginning of the summer. I mountain biked 25 miles a day, would get up, go over his house. I'd pretty much be fasted, maybe a bowl of cereal. We would ride 12 to 15 miles to this store. I would buy a Cliff Bar, a carrot cake Cliff Bar, you know, full of just crap. Eat a Cliff Bar, you know, 40 grams of carbs, 12 grams of protein. So I have no protein. We'd ride back, and then I wouldn't eat until dinner. And I got down to 125 range, and it got scary, and I just wouldn't eat. And I just wanted, I would come back from the bike ride. I'd do 200 crunches at night. I would do 8-minute abs. If anybody's old enough to remember VHS 8-minute abs, that's some old school stuff. But I would do it 3 times through because I was getting stronger, and so I do 24-minute abs because 24 minutes is better than 8 minutes. And I just got rail thin, and I was anorexic, and I had issues. And my mom and dad just got obviously concerned, and they took me to the doctor, and he's like, what's going on? And like, you're really skinny. And I'm like, I want to look good. I want abs. I want muscles. And he's like, well, you got to eat protein.
Yeah.
And so that was obviously the only thing he could say to me was, you have to eat more, and you have to eat protein. So I flipped the other direction, and I ate like 200 grams of protein a day for a 125-gram meal, which was all right. It was fuel, but I still wasn't having any fat. I was eating a crap load of conventional chicken. I probably had more soy in my diet than a woman on the pill, and just estrogen pumping through my system. And I did this all when I was 14, 15, 16, when my body was primed for anabolic growth. And I just screwed myself royally hormonally because I'm at the prime of my life to grow.
Yeah. And
I'm pushing in the opposite direction. I'm not eating. I'm eating no fat, so I'm not supporting any hormone production. I'm cut my testosterone completely out, which is unbelievably unfathomable for a 16-year-old boy. And it was really bad. And so I look back at these pictures of me as a senior, and my clothes are falling off me. It's like I had to wear medium shirts because I was so tall and lanky, and I could have worn an extra small.
It's like the shirts they wear in the rap videos in the 90s. Reminds me
of
the
but I'm a white, skinny white boy, and they're all falling off.
You had
me.
cornrows, right?
Oh god! Oh, that was another. That's another story. That'll be on my hair.
Awesome.
That'll be on my hair change through the years. My hair catastrophes through the years. Album, which I'm sure will be fun to just poke fun at me.
Yeah.
Transparency. So I was looking at this, and the photos of me when I was a senior in high school, I had actually built up to about 148 to almost 150 pounds. So I turned it around. I met one of my best friends, Jay, who I've mentioned before, and worked out in his basement, and we just did bodybuilding for like 2 straight years. We would go on like runs, like hill runs at midnight, and then we would 4 or 5 days a week be just crushing the high volume bodybuilding, and I put weight on, so it was beneficial. I got up to at least healthy in the sense that I wasn't sickly thin, but I was still hormonally just messed up. And I look back and I'm like, man, I did the greatest amount of damage at the time that I could have been doing the greatest amount of benefit, and I think it really effed me for life. And I've really been working against that since that time, and have been a hard gainer. And I was very proud of my transformation, but it was also kind of bittersweet, which I guess I'll talk about in a little bit. But what was your journey like coming from the youth?
Well, before I go into that, the converse of that whole situation where you screwed up your hormones is that it was a really awesome opportunity for you to learn about what didn't work. Because I mean, even now that conventional wisdom still exists. It's still prevalent, believe it or not. I mean, you see it all the time. People
right, but what didn't work ended up being like girls approaching me and being like, "I love your calves. I wish I had calves like that." Oh yeah, that's not where you want your estrogen levels because you have so much soy in your diet.
That is funny. It brings me to a point that
so funny
that girls like